Hey Charlie, this is part two. I've already gone ahead and mixed up all the all the inputs, which includes the base, the cocoa core, etc., etc. Now, when I started to add the dry fertilizer, the down to earth, I just want to point out one thing. You want to use a mask because a lot of dust comes up. You don't want to be breathing that in. It's really concentrated, so if you have a mask, as you're preparing this, I'd advise that you use it. I'm gonna go ahead and slip it on and just do a quick mix. Got my gloves here, and yeah. Now the way that I work it is I come in from the bottom and I just start dragging it off to the side. Just get a nice mix, get everything from the bottom, raise to the top, turn it, do the same thing. And you'll continue to do this till you have a solid mix of soil, nutrients, and all the other inputs. Really good exercise too. You said gardening was easy, right? So just get all those nice and mixed in. And I'm actually using two different bags. I'm using a large 7-gallon for the mix, which is then going to go into a 5-gallon. And I'll show you how I set up what we call, the area where we're going to allow the roots through. So it's the cool area. Cool zone, cool space, whatever. So anyways, this is pretty well mixed up. Doesn't take a lot of time. Just want to make sure all those inputs get mixed up really well. Break down anything that's large and clumpy. And then you got a good base. Now, setting this aside for a moment, take off my mask. Let's go ahead, bring your 5-gallon over. And then all you need to do is pour good base in. Just a bottom piece. And over here, bring that down a little bit. Cool. I need to fill that bag up about 1/3 of the way. Next, I take a 1-gallon pot, and that's going to tell me that's the space in which I want that cool zone to exist. So at this point, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour the soil around, bring it up to about, I would say an inch, maybe an inch and a half from the top, because I do want to amend the soil later, adding soil with amendments. So I need space for that. So I don't want to fill it all the way to the top. And here we go. I just take this and doesn't matter if you get it into the bucket, it's not going to do anything. I just basically want to get that soil in there without making too much of a mess. Okay. Now what I can do is I can then take that out of that 1-gallon and just fill in the sides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it all the way to the top of that 1-gallon. So that's why we start off with a small base, and then we have enough just to bring it up, and turns out it's perfect. Done this a couple times. So anyway, once we have that in there, we want to establish that cool base by pressing down, turning a little bit, and creating that open cavity. Okay. Right here is the cool zone, and what we would do for an auto is we would take, whether we're using the Happy Frog or a combination of the Happy Frog and some cocoa coir mixed, and we would then fill that cavity up, poke your 1/4 inch hole so that you can then put the seed in, lightly cover it, and then start with a sprayer or a droplet and start adding water in a downward direction, because the first thing you want is that you want that taproot to go straight down and establish itself. Later, it will expand out horizontally, but the water should be directed at the root, and you'll do that for the first anywhere from 3 to 5 days until that seed pops open and you get that first true set of leaves coming up, and then you're in seedling stage. So you've gone from germination into seedling, and then just ensuring that you do the right things with water feeding in vegetation stage. And the rest is basically water and monitoring the plant. So I think that covers it. There's just a couple other things I want to point out. Like in this instance, I'm actually going to be transplanting a 1 gallon in here. And what I do, this is for my Brittany, transplanting a tomato plant, Roma tomato. But when transplanting, I just want to point out a couple really important things. This mycos, this mycorrhiza, this root inoculant, so critical when you're doing transplant to reduce root shock and to give it, and once these nutrients, this inoculant attaches to the roots, so it's very important that when you take that out, you apply the granule inside at the bottom and around the sides to the roots that are there, and then set that in, and then water that established round root zone area where the transplant area is over the course of the next 3 to 5 days, and that plant will just take off, establish really, really healthy, strong, vigorous roots. The other thing I do when I transplant is, or when I amend soil at certain times, when you notice the plant is calling for more nutrients, more food, is I will create this similar soil, I'll top it, and then I will feed it throughout its life on a weekly basis teas, organic teas. And I use a product called Recharge. It's excellent, it's easy, it's got all kinds of organic components. I'm not going to go into them right now, but this is well worth the money if you're a serious grower. Other than that, I wish you well. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll be talking to you soon. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Okay, buddy? Later.